Today I am interviewing Arlene Plourde about her time in the Swedish colony. So, what was your favorite thing about living in the Swedish colony?
I'm going to start off by saying that my full name is Arlene Johnson Plourde, so I'm born of Swedish parents, so I'm not French like my name sounds. And my favorite thing about growing up was all the relatives that we had around and going to parties for birthdays and all kinds of different events. We'd gather at a relative's house, and all my cousins and everyone would come, and we'd have a really good time. In the wintertime, I remember going over to my cousin's house, and we'd hook all our sleds, runner sleds together, and like a train, and go down the sloping driveway at their place. That was a really good time.
What was school like for you?
School was it was a fun time for me. It was grades 1 through 8, and we had one of my teachers was a wonderful teacher that brought music into the school. She had the she had the, I don't know, I guess the town must have purchased them, but we got the cymbals and the block and the triangle and all, I don't know what you call them, but I think that's about the only music I ever learned all my life.
What is the most memorable story for you?
My most memorable story, I think, would be at Christmas time. I was probably about 12 years old. I was really old for getting my first bicycle, but I was presented with a bicycle. They put a card under the tree, and when I opened it, it said, all the presents aren't under the tree, but there is one left out in the hall for thee. So I went out in the hall, and there stood my second-hand bicycle, which was really pretty special because my cousins had bicycles, and then I got to go riding bicycles with them.
What was midsummer like for you?
Midsummer, when I was younger, I remember going out to the, did I say I lived in Westmoreland?
No, but...
Well, from Westmoreland and going out to New Sweden, they had midsummer at the Lutheran church back then, and they had what do they call those, like a gazebo, a bandstand made like a gazebo-like, and they would play band music there, and they would sell ice cream, and it was quite a bit smaller than what midsummer is like now.
How many siblings do you have?
I had one brother and one sister that were, my sister was 13 years older than me, and my brother was 9 years older than me. So I was like really the baby of the family.
How is the Swedish colony different today than then?
It's a much bigger celebration with, of course, the children dancing around the maypole and doing the maypole decoration and having all the events that go with it, and the smorgasbords, and just a lot more activity.
And generally, how's the Swedish colony different?
We aren't neighborly like we used to be when I grew up, and I think that's, you don't know as many people in the area as you used to do. Years ago, we just about knew everybody around. And now it's not as community oriented, I don't think.
How did you get to school?
I walked to school because my school was right next door to our farm. And the teacher used to board at my mother's. So I'd go home at lunchtime and get the teacher's lunch and then bring it back down to her.
What types of chores did you have?
I remember that I was supposed to get the dishes done. And if I wanted to go play with my cousins, and we had something planned for after school, I went in there and I did those dishes pretty fast. I don't think anybody could do the silverware as fast as I could.
What is something you wished you had?
Back when I was a kid, I grew up in the Depression, and there was one 4th of July that we used to go to the lake, up to the camp on the 4th of July every summer, but this summer gas was rationed, so we didn't have enough gas to go up to the lake. And I sat there in the window thinking about it and not wishing we could go, and I said to my father, I says, couldn't we harness up the horses and take the wagon and the horses up to the lake? But we didn't do that.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, I had a happy life. I raised 6 children that are all just wonderful to me. And God has blessed me with so many things.
And you are fine with me posting this to YouTube, correct?
Yes.